Have you ever noticed how life keeps repeating itself? The same mistakes, the same emotions, the same invisible walls that appear no matter how far you run. Different faces, same pattern. Different stories, same ending. Different choices, and yet the same haunting echo. It's as if reality were not a straight line but a loop, a mirror that follows you wherever you go. But what if that mirror is not outside of you? What if the universe itself is reflecting you? Every thought, every fear, every vibration that you project into its field. Because that's exactly what the Hermetic Masters revealed thousands of years ago. As above, so below. As within, so without. The law of correspondence. The cosmic equation that dissolves the illusion of separation between mind and world. You are not inside the universe. The universe is inside of you. And everything that happens out there, Indy, is your own consciousness speaking back in the language of reflection. This is not mysticism, it's structure. It's the architecture of reality itself. So tonight let's decode the mirror. Let's strip the illusion of its disguise and learn how to read the world as the map of your own vibration. Because reality does not lie. It only mirrors the truth you refuse to see. If the world mirrors your mind, then every distortion you see, every conflict you face, when it is not punishment, it's correspondence. You wake up and feel the weight before you even open your eyes. The same restlessness, the same quiet ache under your skin. It's not physical, it's psychic. A dissonance, a vibration that doesn't belong to the harmony you were born to live in. You move through the day performing gestures that no longer have meaning. Scrolling, working, pretending, smiling. Everything looks normal on the surface, but something inside you keeps whispering, "This isn't it." That whisper is not weakness. It is awareness trying to remember itself. It's the soul tapping on the glass of the illusion, saying, "Wake up." This is not coherence. This is simulation. We live in a time where everyone is connected, yet profoundly fragmented. You can speak to anyone, but no one truly listens. You can share everything, yet reveal nothing. The noise outside has become the perfect disguise for the silence within, and in that silence the echo lives, a resonance that repeats every unhealed pattern you refuse to face. You call it bad luck, you call it coincidence, you call it life happening. But in Hermetic truth, it is correspondence, the law that ensures nothing leaves your field until it has been integrated. This is the new existential void, not the absence of meaning, but the overflow of false meanings. So many signals that you no longer know which one is real. So many choices that you forget what you even wanted. It's the paradox of our age. The more the world mirrors us, the less we recognize ourselves in it. You see beauty, but it feels hollow. You achieve, but the satisfaction dissolves within hours. You scroll through 1,000 lives, and yet your own feels absent. That's not failure. That's correspondence misaligned. The inner geometry, the architecture of your vibration, is fragmented. Your thoughts point in one direction, your emotions in another, your actions in another still. And the universe, being the perfect mirror, simply projects the discord. The ancient adepts never spoke of suffering as punishment. They called it resonance feedback, a vibrational echo that returns to you every frequency you emit unconsciously. You think life is attacking you, but in truth, life is responding to you with terrifying precision. The argument you keep having, the person that keeps triggering you, the opportunities that keep slipping away, each is a symbol, an encrypted message from the cosmos saying, this frequency is still active within you. And until you transmute that frequency into coherence, reality will keep sending you mirrors that break. That is why Hermetic wisdom begins not with prayer, but with observation. Because to observe without judgment is to begin the alchemy of energy. Every time you ignore your inner dissonance, you pay for it with psychic energy. You trade authenticity for approval, silence for noise, intuition for data. You sell pieces of your awareness for the temporary comfort of not feeling lost. But the law of correspondence cannot be cheated. The energy you hide inside will eventually manifest outside, in forms you can no longer ignore. A relationship that collapses, a body that falls ill, a mind that can't rest. The universe speaks louder each time you refuse to listen. And this is why you feel the void, because the reflection no longer matches the source. Your external world has outpaced your inner growth. The mirror is demanding recalibration. When a hermeticist looks at the modern world, they don't see chaos. They see symbols out of sync. They see billions of mirrors reflecting fragmented minds, each projecting noise into the same cosmic field. That's why collective reality feels heavy. It's not evil. It's cumulative. A mass resonance of disordered vibration, the shadow side of correspondence at planetary scale. And yet, the very fact that you can feel this dissonance means that part of you is already outside it. The observer within you has awakened. That awareness is the first sign that the illusion is cracking, because the mirror can only hypnotize those who still think it's the world. To understand the law of correspondence is to realize that your inner world has structure. Every thought, every emotion, every belief is an angle, a piece of sacred geometry. When those angles are misaligned, the outer world bends into distortion. When they harmonize, the reflection stabilizes. You are not powerless. You are simply uncalibrated. Your task is not to escape the mirror. It is to polish it until it becomes transparent. Only then can you see through the illusion and realize that the outer world was never the prison. It was the blueprint. So, the next time you feel trapped, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask instead, "What is this trying to show me?" Because life is not a random sequence of accidents. It is a fractal correspondence, a divine feedback system that never stops whispering your own name back to you. Every repetition is mercy. Every discomfort is direction. Every reflection is a lesson written in the language of vibration. And until you learn to read it, you'll keep mistaking revelation for punishment. Patterns repeat until awareness replaces reaction. The mirror is not your enemy. It's your curriculum. Every pattern that haunts you is not a curse. It is an echo. It returns again and again until the vibration that produced it becomes conscious. You call it fate, karma, bad timing, but the universe is more exact than that. It doesn't punish, it mirrors. When something keeps happening, it means one thing. The lesson has not yet been read. You are still reacting, not interpreting, still fighting the reflection instead of adjusting the source. Hermetic law is mercifully consistent. It will never abandon you halfway through a frequency. It will keep projecting the same geometry until you learn how to draw a new one. Every thought sends a ripple through the field. Every emotion gives it color and density. Every action fixes it into form. If the thought and the emotion contradict each other, the wave splits. Half of you says yes, half of you says no, and the universe answers maybe, a mirrored reality of confusion. That's the loop, an energetic equation that never resolves because the variables never agree. You think you've moved on, but your vibration is still orbiting the same memory. Energy cannot leave the field until it completes its circuit. So it returns, in a new face, a new job, a new disappointment, until you stand still enough to see the geometry repeating itself. Most people never see the pattern, because the moment it appears, they react. Reaction is the food of illusion. Every emotional outburst feeds the loop with the same frequency it came from. You get angry at injustice. Anger returns. You feel abandoned. Situations arise that confirm abandonment. You judge and find yourself surrounded by judgment. The mirror is neutral. It doesn't care what you project, it simply multiplies it. The ancient adepts warned, the untrained mind mistakes reflection for reality. That mistake is the true predator. Not the world, not society, not evil. It's unconscious repetition. The automatic return of what you refuse to observe. Look around. Humanity itself is caught in a planetary feedback loop. We build empires on greed, then fear their collapse. We worship freedom while constructing digital cages. We crave connection yet manufacture distraction. Every global crisis is a macro mirror of the individual psyche. As above, so below. As within, so without. The Hermeticist does not despair at this. They read it as data. They see the same pattern written on a larger scale, and by healing it within, they alter the resonance of the whole. Because correspondence is holographic, change the smallest particle of awareness, and the entire field shifts imperceptibly toward coherence. You cannot break a loop by fighting its content. You dissolve it by shifting the frequency that sustains it. Awareness breaks repetition the way light ends darkness, not by struggle, but by presence. The next time a familiar pain appears, do not run. Pause. Name it softly. Trace its rhythm. Ask it what it is mirroring. Every feeling is a fragment of energy asking to return home. When you welcome it, the circuit closes. The loop loses fuel. That is Hermetic transmutation in its simplest form. Not ritual, not magic, but attention refined into alignment. Between stimulus and reaction, there exists a sacred interval. That space is the doorway out of the loop. In that single heartbeat, you can either replay the past or rewrite the geometry of your field. The wise do not seek control. They seek coherence. They don't suppress emotion. They alchemize it. They let awareness absorb charge until energy becomes information. Then, and only then, the outer world changes, because the mirror finally has a new image to reflect. I no longer fight reflections. I translate them. Repeat it when the old patterns rise. It will remind the psyche that nothing happening is random. Everything is correspondence in disguise. Once you see the pattern, you possess the key. And the key is not control, it is translation. There comes a point where the repetition becomes too precise to ignore, the timing too exact, the coincidences too coherent. You start to sense it, that invisible order behind the apparent chaos, a logic that feels less like destiny and more like a mirror unfolding from within you. This is the threshold of revelation, the place where reaction ends and translation begins. The ancients called it the unveiling of correspondence, the realization that the external world is not a stage of accidents, but a living manuscript written by your own vibration. Every person you meet is a paragraph, every event a line of code, every emotion a signature of frequency marking what your consciousness has created. And the moment you learn to read it, the illusion dissolves. As above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without, as without, so within. These words are not poetry. They are physics of the subtle. The law of correspondence is the connective tissue of reality. It means that every plane of existence is a reflection of the others, that the structure of the cosmos and the structure of your psyche obey the same geometric pattern. The galaxies spiral as your thoughts spiral. Your neural networks mimic constellations. The atom mirrors the solar system. Everything repeats the same divine ratio. To the Hermetic mind, this is proof of unity. To the sleeping mind, it is dismissed as coincidence. But nothing in a universe of correspondence happens by chance. Modern physics now whispers the same truth the ancients sang in temples. The observer and the observed are not separate. Observation collapses potential into form. Your attention is the sculptor of experience. In Hermetic terms, awareness is the bridge. Your consciousness links the invisible realm of cause with the visible realm of effect. Change the frequency of awareness, and the reflection in matter must adjust. Not because the universe obeys you, but because you and it are one equation. You are not in the universe. You are a neuron in the cosmic mind. When you alter your firing pattern, the entire network reconfigures around you. At first, this knowledge can unsettle you, because once you understand that the world reflects your inner state, you can no longer blame the world. Every judgment becomes self-revelation. Every disappointment becomes correspondence. The ego resists. It says, I am not creating this. But the law is impartial. It simply shows what vibrates. Blame, guilt, denial, all are attempts to break the mirror, yet breaking the mirror only multiplies the fragments. Acceptance is the first act of alchemy. When you stop fearing reflection, you begin to converse with it. To the initiated eye, nothing is random. A phrase overheard on the street, a song that repeats, a delay, a coincidence, all are reflections carrying data. The Hermetic path trains perception itself. It teaches you to read reality as language, a living oracle that constantly speaks your frequency back to you. When you master this reading, you no longer need fortune tellers or prophecies. You simply watch your life unfold, and every reflection tells you what you still vibrate and what has already been harmonized. There is a quiet mercy behind this law. It never lies. It never punishes. It only reveals. The harsh reflections are not cruelty. They are honesty in motion. They show you where you are fragmented. They invite you back into coherence. The mirror loves you enough to repeat the lesson until you remember it. That is cosmic compassion disguised as discomfort. In practical terms, what does this mean? When an experience triggers you, pause and translate instead of reacting. Ask, what part of me is this reflecting? What frequency in me called this experience into form? What coherence does this situation ask of me? This is Hermetic inquiry, not philosophy, but surgery of awareness. Each translation dissolves another knot of vibration. Each insight reweaves your field closer to truth. Imagine holding a small mirror inside another mirror, infinite reflection stretching beyond sight. That is the cosmos. Each layer mirrors the one above and below. You are a cell reflecting the body of the universe, and the universe reflects the secret of the soul. That is why every act of inner alignment affects everything. When one mind remembers coherence, 1,000 others feel the echo, even if they cannot name it, because consciousness is contagious. Harmony resonates. When the student truly sees this, they stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this showing me about the whole?" This single shift of perspective is the crossing from illusion to initiation. You don't escape the mirror, you become its master interpreter. The world does not change because you wish it to. It changes because you realign the pattern that sustains it. You are surrounded by the field you created. Every vibration you have ever emitted still hums within it. To reclaim the mind field is to return to authorship, not through dominance, but through awareness. Where your attention goes, the pattern grows. Sit in the center of your mental storm and watch. Each thought is a seed. Each emotion, water or fire. Each action, the soil where vibration becomes form. Most try to control reality, tightening the mirror until it cracks. The Hermetic way is gentler. Align the inner frequency and control becomes unnecessary. Coherence is command without effort. When thought, emotion, and gesture move in one rhythm, reality has no choice but to echo harmony. The universe does not answer words, it answers vibration. Every morning, pause before touching the screen. Feel your breath trace the boundary between worlds. Whisper inwardly, "As within, so without. May my inner order write the outer day." Then perform one small act that matches the frequency you wish to see reflected. A message sent with sincerity, a task finished in silence, a moment of gratitude before the next scroll. These are not rituals of superstition. They are correspondences of intention. Intention is architecture. A scattered mind draws crooked lines. A centered mind builds temples in the invisible. Write what you intend not as desire but as geometry. I align peace in thought, peace in tone, peace in action. Trace that sentence as if carving it into air. This is how consciousness learns symmetry. When correspondence begins to shift, the world softens. People mirror your calm. Events arrive with silent precision. Synchronicity becomes the language of confirmation. Do not boast. Do not claim control. Bow to the order re-emerging through you. Power in Hermeticism is humility made radiant. At night, Review the day as a mirror. Where was reflection smooth? Where did distortion return? Each observation refines the lens. Reality is my echo, not my enemy. I choose coherence again. Breathe it until it feels true. When the individual field stabilizes, the collective begins to tune itself to that same frequency. One aligned mind becomes a silent metronome for 1,000 others. When a person becomes internally consistent, the change does not stay private. Calm, honesty, and clarity spread outward in the same way that a single tuning fork can make another one vibrate across the room. This is not mysticism, it is resonance. Human attention, speech, and action form patterns that invite matching patterns in others. You have felt this before. One grounded friend can steady an entire group. One person breathing slowly can quiet a room. The same law that aligns your inner world, as within, so without, begins to scale through every interaction. Each conversation, decision, or creative act is a small experiment in correspondence. When you choose coherence instead of reaction, you help set a rhythm that others can unconsciously follow. Your surroundings start to organize around that signal. Relationships become less about power and more about exchange. It is not about trying to save anyone. It is about maintaining the tone that keeps your own field clear. From that clarity, support and insight arise naturally. A brief daily check can help. Before entering a shared space, pause and breathe. Ask, what frequency do I bring into this room? Let the breath carry that intention. Nothing forced, only remembered. When groups of people practice this kind of awareness, social fields become lighter. Communication moves from reaction to rhythm. Cooperation replaces noise. Small acts of alignment scale like patterns in a fractal, each part reflecting the integrity of the whole. I bring order by being ordered. I contribute to harmony by remembering harmony. There comes a moment when you realize that the world is always answering you. Every sound, delay, or coincidence carries a small signature of your current state. The law of correspondence is not abstract anymore. It has become a conversation. Most people overlook this dialogue because they expect a single, dramatic revelation. In truth, reality speaks softly and repeatedly. A phrase overheard twice, a symbol that keeps appearing, a sudden memory returning. These are the letters of that conversation. Learning to read the signs is learning to listen differently, not for confirmation of what you already believe, but for the pattern beneath experience. Observation replaces superstition. Curiosity replaces control. Begin by watching without trying to decode everything. When an event feels charged, too coincidental to dismiss, pause. Ask a simple question. What does this remind me of inside? The answer may appear as a feeling, an image, or a small adjustment of attitude. If nothing comes, let it rest. True signs return, false ones fade. Write these moments down. A notebook of correspondences becomes a map of how your inner weather shapes outer events. Symbols are not mysterious gifts from outside. They are reflections of meaning you already carry. Water may appear whenever emotion is ready to flow again. Mechanical failure may point to exhaustion. Repeated numbers, animals, or songs are echoes of states of mind. Treat them with respect, but not fear. A symbol's power lies in the recognition it awakens, not in any automatic prophecy. Dreams belong to the same language. They are nightly correspondences between conscious and unconscious. Write them before the day erases them. Patterns emerge in weeks, not days. Synchronicities, the perfect timings that no logic can explain, are confirmation that inner and outer are in temporary harmony. They are the universe whispering, "You heard correctly." When dissonance returns, missed buses, broken communication, forgotten tasks, do not panic. It only means the dialogue continues. Adjustment is needed. At the end of each day, review 3 reflections. Something that flowed easily, something that resisted, something that surprised you. Ask what each may be mirroring. No judgment, only curiosity. The goal is not to decode life, but to refine perception until reflection becomes natural understanding. Never use these insights to manipulate or predict others. Hermetic awareness is meant for alignment, not advantage. When you interpret the mirror responsibly, empathy deepens. You see that everyone is living within their own correspondence, their own lesson disguised as circumstance. The world has always been speaking. You are simply learning its grammar. Keep the dialogue honest. Act when clarity comes. Rest when silence returns. Every sign is a sentence in the language of balance. I read it, and I answer with coherence. The Hermetic path is not built in rare moments of revelation. It is shaped in the ordinary hours between them. Every sunrise offers a small laboratory where the law of correspondence can be tested again. Practice does not mean perfection. It means repetition in awareness, turning understanding into rhythm. Before the world enters your senses, pause. Sit for 1 minute and feel the simple fact of being awake. Let the mind settle until breath, heartbeat, and thought fall into the same pace. Whisper inwardly, "As within, so without. May clarity guide what I create today." Then perform one clear physical act. Make the bed, open a window, write a single line of gratitude. The outer movement seals the inner intention. The mirror begins clean. Halfway through the day, distractions multiply. Noise, opinions, urgency. Choose one moment, a pause before replying to a message, before stepping into a meeting, and take a full breath. Ask, what tone am I about to send into the field? If the answer feels scattered, breathe again until coherence returns. This is correspondence in real time, the act of tuning before speaking. When night comes, turn reflection literal. Look around your space. What does its order or disorder say about your inner state? Look within. What repeated emotion colored the day? Write down 3 observations: flow, friction, and lesson. Thank the mirror, even for its difficult images. Recognition is the first level of transmutation. Once a week, withdraw from information for an hour. No screens, no noise, only pen and paper. Trace the patterns that appeared through the week. Similar moods, repeated encounters, moments of clarity. Mark what shifted when you changed your inner response. This journal becomes evidence that the law of correspondence is not belief, but behavior. The purpose of discipline is not control, but remembrance. Habits protect awareness when inspiration fades. If you forget the practice for a day, simply begin again. The field never closes, it waits for your attention. Power lies in constancy. Small, deliberate acts of coherence multiplied over time. From these, transformation grows quietly, without drama. The Hermetic life is lived one breath, one decision at a time. Every repetition of presence rewrites the geometry of experience. Once inner order begins to stabilize, its movement naturally expands. A clear mind cannot remain isolated. Coherence looks for circulation. The next step on the Hermetic path is quiet service, letting alignment benefit everything it touches. The law of correspondence does not stop at the edge of the self. Whatever harmony you hold becomes environment. People entering your field borrow your rhythm for a moment. Integrity, patience, and clarity are subtle forces that travel faster than argument. You may never see their full effect, but every balanced gesture adjusts a pattern somewhere. A child who feels safe enough to speak, a colleague who calms before conflict, a friend who remembers honesty. This is influence without control, leadership without domination. Whatever task fills your day, designing, teaching, repairing, can be treated as correspondence in action. Outer precision mirrors inner care. When attention meets detail, work becomes prayer. When care replaces haste, results carry a different vibration. Ask before you begin, what quality do I want this action to transmit when it leaves my hands? Let that answer shape the tone of your speech, the pace of your movement, the finish of your work. This is how ordinary labor becomes Hermetic art. Service also means releasing the need to remake others in your image. Coherence listens before it speaks. It recognizes that every person stands inside their own mirror. Instead of judging, you can offer presence, a space where another can meet their reflection safely. Sometimes that presence heals more than advice ever could. When conversation grows heated, remember, the tone you carry determines the quality of exchange. Breathe once before replying. That single pause can shift an entire relationship. Groups, families, and communities behave like larger versions of the psyche. When collective energy becomes chaotic, one calm participant can re-establish rhythm, not by control, but by resonance. Be that participant whenever you can. Notice how generosity multiplies itself. One small act of clarity encourages others to do the same. Through correspondence, cooperation becomes self-organizing. The more awareness expands, the subtler the temptation to use it for advantage. Remember that Hermetic power is never ownership. It is stewardship. To serve is to circulate what has been given, not to hoard it. Guard against spiritual vanity, the idea that understanding makes you superior. Understanding makes you responsible. Every insight asks to be lived, not displayed. When your words, actions, and thoughts begin to carry the same tone, you contribute silently to the healing of the field that sustains all life. End this block with a reminder you can repeat in moments of doubt. I serve by being coherent. I influence by being clear. I lead by remembering alignment. The circle closes where it began, with the mirror. At first it seemed an enemy, a surface that repeated your fears and flaws. Now it has become a teacher, showing that every reflection was an invitation to remember who you are beneath reaction. The law of correspondence has followed us through every breath of this journey. As within, so without. It was never a command to control the world, only a reminder that perception and creation share the same root. When inner movement aligns with outer action, reality answers with quiet precision. The mirror has not changed. Your gaze has. You now look through it, not at it. Where there was distortion, there is dialogue. Where there was confusion, there is pattern. This is the subtle victory of Hermetic practice. To walk through the same world, but hear its language differently. Carry the principle lightly. Use it when frustration rises, when timing falters, when silence feels heavy. Ask, what correspondence is unfolding here? Each answer restores coherence. The practice is endless because awareness has no boundary. The mirror expands with you. If the reflections of this teaching moved something in you, keep the dialogue alive. Write, breathe, act with the same intention that began this journey, to see clearly and respond with harmony. The more you practice, the more the world reorganizes around clarity rather than chaos. The Hermetic path does not promise escape from reality. It offers participation in its design. Every thought is a brushstroke, every emotion a color, every choice a line in the geometry of experience. When you remember this, life ceases to happen to you and begins to happen through you. End the entire script with a simple closing mantra. As within, so without. As without, so I remember within. The mirror and I are one.